Hi, I'm Tony Gauda, head of customer engineering at Fleet Device Management, and I am here to demonstrate how to deploy Fleet using our Terraform configuration. Here I've got a terminal on the left-hand side, and it includes the Terraform files that are available on our website, on our GitHub. So I've got them here. So I'm just going to follow the instructions that are here. The first thing that we want to do in the directory where we have the AWS Terraform, we want to cd into the remote state directory, and we want to do a Terraform init. And as we wait for this to complete, we want to start thinking about what our prefix is. So the prefix is used without Fleet. So this is the prefix here. What this is basically whatever you like. So inside of AWS, objects need to be globally unique. So we need to come up with a prefix that we think is unique so that it won't conflict with anything else that exists inside of S3 for a bucket name. So I'm going to choose a prefix to be FleetDM CE3. So you're going to see, and I'm going to use that prefix with this workspace new. So you're going to watch what I'm about to do. I'm going to paste this here, and then I'm going to type in my prefix FleetDM. What did I say? CE3 dash, and I'm going to add prod as my environment. That's what that PROD at the end is. So let's do that. And that completed successfully. Let me reduce that a little bit so that's so that it shows more of the command line. Great, so that's complete. Now let's do the apply. So now that we've done that, let's do this. Paste. We also include the prefix that we decided. So let's use this as the prefix. Region equals US East 2. We're going to default our region to US East 2. So there's one caveat here, which is you need to make sure that your AWS CLI is configured to the right, to the correct default region, or you'll have an error later. But I've configured mine for US East 2. So let's do our Terraform apply. It's going to do some stuff. It's going to ask me if I want to confirm. I'm going to say yes, and it's going to bootstrap our configuration. So we've got two new S3 buckets that were created. So now let's jump into our earlier directory, the AWS directory, and now what we want to do is to edit our main Terraform to use the S3 bucket that we just created above. So what we want to do is that there's two file names that are here. So let's get this one. So this is one, and this is the other that we need to know. So let's do this. So let's go. I want to remember this name, so I'm just gonna use it as a. Actually, let's do this. Let's copy this. Let's copy that, and then let's vi our main tf. And then we'll come down to where it says fleet Terraform. So we want to replace the word fleet with our prefix that we decided earlier. So now that we've done that, we want to save this file. And then we want to create our prod.tfrs. So what we want to do is let's copy this to our clipboard. Let's do a vi prod tfrs. So we want to create a new file. Insert, let's paste that all in. Let's make two changes. So let's start out so that it doesn't auto start. Otherwise, we can get rate limited by Docker. And then we want to put in the URL that we would like to go. So go fleet. This is the URL that I'm using for the demonstration. fleetdmtutorials.com. And then we want to use our prefix here. So what was it? Fleet DM CE3 was our prefix. DMCE3. And let's save that out. And now we want to do a Terraform init. And it's doing its thing. So that's this one right here. And now we want to do success. So now let's create a workspace again. So let's do this. Fleet DM CE3 prod, which was our environment that we want to create. Done. And now let's do our Terraform apply using the TFVars file that we just created. Say yes. All right, so it's going to do its thing. So while it's doing this, what's going to happen is that inside of Route 50, so what it's going to do is going to create a new zone. So right here, I've got the fleetdmtutorials.com. So what this Terraform is going to do is going to create another domain here called fleet.fleetdmtutorials.com, which will include the name server entries that we need to copy into the fleetdmtutorials.com. So you'll see that happen in a second. So I'll pause the video until we get to that point. Okay, so you'll notice here it says that it's looking for the certificate validation. So when it gets to that point and it says still creating, what you want to do, right now I've got my domain that's managed inside of S3. I'm sorry, inside of AWS. So I'm going to go and you'll notice that there's an additional fleetdmtutorials.com that was actually created by the Terraform. So what we want to do is we want to take the NS records that were created inside of this one and copy them to our hosted zone. So I'm just going to copy this to the clipboard, go back to the hosted zone, and then go to fleetdmtutorials.com, and let's create a new NS record. Let's call it Fleet because that's the subdomain that we want Fleet to run under. And then we copy those, copy and paste those right there. I'm going to set this for 1 minute just for this demo. And let's create that record. And then it's done. So we're going to go back to our to our Terraform, which is running. And eventually what will happen is that we'll be able to validate that NS record was actually created. It'll be able to validate the certificate. So we're going to wait for that to complete. And I'll be back when it does. Okay, and we're back. So the migration has, the apply is completed. So now it's time to start. Let's start our instance and do the migrations. So the next step is to copy this guy to your clipboard, and what we want to do is put this into some text editor that you can change, because what we want to do are to change these variables here to things that were printed in at the end of the Terraform apply. So you'll notice there's a few there's a few outputs, and what I'll show you exactly which ones we need to change inside of this file, inside of this command. So let's copy this to a clipboard, and then let's go over to text editor that makes things easy. So the first thing we want to find is the Fleet Migrate latest version. So let's go back and get that. So it says Fleet Migrate task, Fleet Migration task revision. So that's 5. So let's take that over here. Let's change this latest version to 5. And the next thing we want to do are the subnets. So the private subnet ID. Let's go back over here. And we'll just take the first one here. That's just for us. This is for demonstration purposes. This will work just fine. So let's go there. And notice we got that from private subnet. You can also choose from private subnets. Any one of those would have worked. So the next one that we want to change are the security groups. So let's find the desired security group. And where are they at? Where are they at? Here we go. Backend security group ID. So we want to copy that here. Let's paste it. Now, let's copy all this to our clipboard, go back to our terminal, and run it. Okay, now that our migrations are complete, now it's time to start the actual service. So what we want to do is vi our prod tf-vars, and let's change the min and max capacity to the 1 and to the 5. Once we do that, then we can do back to the Terraform apply, run those, which will actually start the instances. And we'll wait. Now our fleet apply has completed, so all we have to do is navigate to our URL that we specified earlier, and you'll notice that the setup is now up and running and available. Thank you. Let us know if you have any questions.